Good morning, Bix Weir, roota.com with your morning horn of Z's, your horn of Z's. Um, some people call it a sip of coffee, some people call it a cup of coffee. I'm going to stick with cup of coffee. The confusion lies in the name comes from Bootling, which is a Northern California specific language. It's pretty cool. And they used to talk, they wanted to gossip about people in the fields without the kids who were working right next to them knowing what they were talking about, so they invented their own language. Thousands of words in the language. But the problem is there's no dictionary, there's no set up structure, because it was all kind of word of mouth. So horn of Z's means, it could mean sip of coffee, it could mean drink of coffee, it could mean horn, as in the vessel they were drinking liquids out of. I'm going to stick with cup of coffee. I was at sip of coffee for a long time. It doesn't sound as good as cup of coffee. With your morning cup of coffee, enough of that. Bix Weir. It is Monday, July 31st. I think it's a very important day. First of all, my buddy Rick, happy birthday, buddy. He's as old as I am, 53. Old man. But I'm going to stick with Zero Hedge today because there's so much going on. And remember, this is the end of July. Come August, September, October, we're looking for mass chaos everywhere, mainly in government. Yes, I know it's hard to believe it could get more chaotic in government than it is right now. But it is going to get worse, so just get ready for it. Cliff High's data has a lot of government angst going on, as in states even potentially splitting away from the union, getting that bad over the next, as the economic system crumbles and falls, and you couldn't tell that it's crumbling. It is crumbling, but it's all happening behind the scenes. The Fed and the U.S. Treasury rig all markets, rig the stock market, the bond market, the metals markets. Very easy to do with computers and derivatives. I've proven 1,000 times that this is what is done. Finally, people started coming on board a few years back with Michael Lewis's book about high-frequency trading. This has been going on since the 60s and 70s, since the invention of computers, the invention of our electronic monetary system by Alan Greenspan and Arthur Burns, the head of the Fed at the time in the 1960s. Greenspan wrote computer programs to rig the markets. The original program was invented by his buddy from high school, John Kemeny. John Kemeny was a brilliant mathematician. He was actually Albert Einstein's mathematician, for inventing the nuclear bomb and all that. Crazy stuff. I mean, but the facts are facts, and these connections are real. The guy at the Fed, Boston's name was, what was his name? I always forget his name. Stephen Duveau. And Stephen Duveau is the guy who adapted the Road to Roota comic books that came out of the Fed, talking about going back to a gold standard. He was a computer expert in the 1970s, he worked for the Fed Boston from the early 70s to the really early 80s, and then he went on to some of the bigger banks in the world to implement his computer rigging models. And then to IBM, a division with IBM that embeds computer programs within machines. And everybody was wondering about the Stuxnet virus and all that. Does the U.S. government really have the power to shut down any machine using a computer that they want? Probably do. And Stephen Duveau is probably your guy, one of the source guys, because he's all about control, project control. That's his expertise. He couldn't find much about him for a long, long time, other than he was in military intelligence. And then in the early 90s, he published a book, and all of a sudden he was a world-renowned expert on project implementation. So that's your background. Yes, the markets are rigged 100% of the time. Our current Treasury Secretary was the head of IT at Goldman Sachs. That's why he became our head of the Treasury, because he's a computer expert. And yep, computers are the way of the future. It's interesting that computers got us into captivity, and computers will take us out of captivity with the new cryptocurrencies, the blockchain companies that are being invented. Now is the time to put your portfolio together of companies that will be long-term survivors of any chaos. Same thing happened in the early 1990s with the invention of the World Wide Web. The Bitcoin protocol, the blockchain technology, and all the other blockchains that are being invented will be very useful in the future. And the earlier you recognize that, the better off you are. It's like, picking Amazon and Google and Facebook back in the early 90s when they were just being invented. That's what's going on right now, and has been going on for a few years now. So you're a little behind the schedule, but I mean, this is going to go on decades, if not centuries. So yeah, this is the new high-tech world we're moving into, so get involved. Anyway, let's see what the world's talking about today. Top left there, more on Seth Rich. The Seth Rich was the computer programmer for the DNC who was murdered, shot in the back. When they found out someone was leaking, there's emails saying John Podesta was going to teach whoever was leaking a lesson, and apparently he did. And this is all getting linked in with the Anwar brothers, the IT guys of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and a lot of the politicians. Amazing information going on about them. Absolutely criminal family, and mainly the Democrats, but also Republicans, gave them full access to their computers. They were making huge money. These guys were criminals. One of the guys was working at McDonald's before he gets a $160,000 a year IT job. He got fired from McDonald's. He gets this IT job with the U.S. government. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, literally full access to anything he wants without any security clearances. Insane. Insane. I mean, just for that, anybody who used these guys should go to jail. But there was a lot going on. There was a lot of cover-up of really bad things within the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And these guys, I guess, were the key people within the computer systems. How to supposedly they knew how to tap phones and that whole thing. So, this has to come out in the open. We're so sick of all these criminals getting away with everything from pedophilia to market rigging to murder. Yes, that all goes on in our government. We are a banana republic, although we don't admit it to humanity because we own the media as well. So it's bad. It's getting worse. Hopefully Trump can pull a plug on all this crap, but it will destroy the United States from within. I think it's time that we do that. It doesn't necessarily have to destroy the country. We can rebuild. We always have. But it should destroy about a third of Congress. Will end up in jail. So can't wait for that. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee, of my cup of coffee. All right, let's get into it. And the market breaks with another overnight melt-up U.S. equity futures. After disappointing Chinese data, it should be no surprise that the markets just broke. Again, markets are rigged via computer program out of the basement of the U.S. Treasury and at the New York Fed. It can go anywhere they want. It doesn't matter. The news does not matter. VIX trade, no one is talking about. On the VIX ETFs and ETNs, there are strategies that involve being short both. That seems to work, and they actually dominate the flows. Again, when money is cheap and free, the Fed gives away free money, and banks create free money out of thin air, you're going to see crazy money getting thrown at everything. So the amount of money that, and then when it all runs away from the shaky market, expect it to flow into gold and silver. They will try to cap it for longer, prolonging this transition, but really expect it to flow into the cryptocurrencies in September and October. It's glaring in Cliff High's data, and it's glaring for much of humanity. Will be trying to get, and it's not necessarily to get into the cryptos because people love them so much. It's to get out of the old system, and that's what's really going to kick in September and October. And the big money, really big money, is going to try to get out of the old system. Can you imagine that? Trillions of dollars flowing into the cryptocurrencies, the crypto companies, the blockchain technology companies. Amazing time. So now is the time to get your position, get a solid position, and just wait it out until the year's up. And then 99% chance you'll be really happy. I would say 99 from where we are right now. So does really happy mean going up? You know, even if it goes up 1%, you're still making 2% on your money for the year. Well, a little more than that. Say it goes up 10%, you're making 30% because there's only, what, 4 months left? 5 months left of the year? I'm getting a little ahead of myself, I know. Anyway, a lot of money to be made there if you can handle the volatility. Remember, crocodile teeth. Cliff High's like crocodile teeth. And we already seen it, but these crocodile teeth go up. This next tooth, apparently, according to Cliff, is just going to be a skyrocket. Bang, 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 bang. Huge moves. And then huge slams down and huge moves. That's the way a new enterprise, a new disruptive technology, and this technology is disrupting the monetary system. That's exciting. Anyway, move on. Snap is ridiculous. That's like a, it reminds me of pets.com that actually got to go public. It is crashing, and everybody, you could tell because they're listening to this. Snap crashes near record lows as IPO lockup expires. Today's tumble continues the slide from $29 highs, $24 open, and $17 IPO as Snap shares trade down to $13.20 in pre-open after this weekend's IPO lockup expiration. So everybody who works for Snap wants to get out. What does that tell you about this company? I mean, was it a pure fraud that it went public? Must have lied to everybody. And who's responsible for that? These people are trying to cash out to make their millions, and when they lied to the whole world that this was a good company. Anyway. Trump touts highest stock market ever, slams Congress's exemption from disaster Obama healthcare. You're going to see a lot of infighting in the U.S. government as we transition out of the old system and into something new. The reason for that is the new system, blockchain-based, will not allow lying, cheating, and stealing, which means pretty much all of our government needs to go. And you're going to see that happen. Yes, it will be scary. Yes, there will be a constitutional crisis. I would say the constitutional crisis is going on right now because we don't follow the Constitution. So, yeah, this is a good thing. Yes, most people will lose all their money. It happens, you know. You got to be smarter and make the moves. You need physical silver in your own possession. You need cryptocurrencies in your own possession, meaning not in any third-party storage. I don't care who that storage is. I like the paper wallets. I heard Trezor is good, but I don't know that. Paper wallets, I know I created them. I hold them. I can check the balance. I like the paper wallets. That's me. All right, key events. You know, the funny thing is the events don't matter. Knowing that they can rig the market at any time with a click of a mouse, what does any key economic event matter during a week? Nothing. JP Morgan develops artificial intelligence robot to execute high-speed trades, put humans out of work. Oh my God. The wave of the future is high technology. It's going to come whether you can fight it, you can scream about it, you can. I love the guys who say, "Oh, I love the blockchain technology, but Bitcoin will never work." That's ridiculous. Chris Duane especially, completely ridiculous. Because he knows out of anybody, he knows that we need, the biggest change we need in life right now is honesty and money. We need to change our monetary system. He chooses silver and chooses to close his eyes towards everything else. I don't close my eyes towards anything, and I see how blockchain technology and Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies can save humanity at the time it needs saving. And that time it needs saving is when the old system crashes, the old corrupt monetary system crashes. We're going to have a choice between all kinds of cryptocurrencies or gold and silver. I think humanity will tend to say, well, gold and silver isn't very useful sitting in my vault, and the cryptocurrencies are. I can go to the store and buy a cup of coffee with my Litecoin. Oh yeah, we do have the halving, or not the halving, the Bitcoin BIP 148 or user activated soft fork or whatever you want to call it is happening today. I expect 2 coins to be made, Bitcoin and BCC, with Bitcoin Cash, they're calling it. Very much like Ethereum. There's ETC and ETH. Will it kill Bitcoin? No, not at all. If you're sitting with a coin in an exchange, get it out. Get it out immediately. Get it out today as you're listening to this. Or an online wallet. You need it in paper form or on a Trezor, anything outside of the system, because they don't know what the hell's going on either. So if you hold it on in your own possession, in your own wallet, your wallet is a public address and a private key, then you'll be fine, and let everybody else sort everything out. I like Litecoin better than Bitcoin. Truthfully, of the BTC and BCC, I'd probably choose the BCC because it's faster. But truthfully, we don't need it. Bitcoin has decided that they don't want to be, the Bitcoin core programmers decided they don't want to be used for day-to-day transactions. So Bitcoin should do fine. BCC will probably trade right next to Bitcoin, and you'll have two coins if you store your coins properly. So yeah, I was thinking about just getting in Bitcoin just for that, but I'm not gonna. I don't even want to get involved in that mess. I stand outside of the Bitcoin problems, and this doesn't solve, the situation now doesn't solve any problems. There'll be problems with Bitcoin for the rest of the year. But the price, when this first hurdle gets hurdled, it'll probably go up, and you'll have two coins worth a lot of money. And bravo. I'd rather play in Litecoin, which is faster and cheaper and more sane. And there's a lot of cryptos out there. And what this whole Bitcoin SegWit / Bitcoin Core thing has taught me, and I think it was a great lesson, is that people want choice. They want choice, and these cryptos are all different types. If you want security, you can go with Monero, and maybe even Bitcoin will be more secure now. I'm sure it will be. But if you want speed of transactions, you use something like Litecoin or Dash. It has taught me that, you know, since Bitcoin doesn't want to be participating in the means of exchange aspect, I think all that value that would have gone to Bitcoin is going to go to these other coins. Mainly Litecoin, I think, is the clearly dominant player as far as a means of exchange, and Charlie Lee is working hard at it and getting it to be the go-to coin for exchange, which is awesome. Very cool. I own a lot of Litecoin, and I highly recommend, if you have some Bitcoin, you better have some Litecoin too. And you can get it at Coinbase, our favorite exchange. I don't keep anything in Coinbase. I don't recommend anybody keep anything in Coinbase or any of the online exchanges or online wallets. Learn to get offline. Same with silver. Don't have anybody holding your gold or your silver. That's insane. I don't care how trustworthy they are. They're not trustworthy when the banking system collapsed and everybody is fending for themselves. All right, moving on. See how easily I get distracted? Let's see. Venezuela is an absolute mess. Opposition threatens war in the streets as Maduro claims victory in Venezuela assembly vote. It's rigged, of course, just like the U.S. elections is rigged. Let's see. Angry and frustrated, China hits back over Trump's latest tweets. 2 days after Donald Trump tweeted he is very disappointed in China following Pyongyang's latest missile test. Yeah, that's going to spiral out of control. Somebody's going to have to either talk to North Korea behind the scenes and say, that's it. You either stop or somebody's going to wipe you off the face of the planet, which is really sad. And it didn't have to go this way, but North Korea is the last stronghold of the bad guys, the Bush clan. They control North Korea, and they're not going out without a fight. And the fight is going to probably kill a lot of people. It's really sad. All right. Bill Blaine, is there one obvious trigger that could lead to a market fall in the second half? Yeah. If the U.S. chooses to click that mouse and say, okay, we're going to either stop rigging the market, stop supporting the stock market, or we're going to drive it down, just like they did in 2008 via computer. That was an attempted takedown of the banking system. And it was done by the Fed and the U.S. Treasury. It was a planned thing. Well, maybe not the U.S. Treasury. The guys behind the scenes, the good guys. Probably Stephen DeVoe and Alan Greenspan were clicking their mouses and causing it to crash. You ever notice that Alan Greenspan was put into office as the head of the Fed in 1987? I think it was August or September. And then you had the 1987 crash, Black Monday. totally and completely a computer-driven crash. If you read any of the forensics of how it happened, it was all computer trading programs, which Alan Greenspan was the key to. So he came in, the Fed, within 2 months, he was clicking that mouse, crash, crash, crash. But the bubbles weren't big enough. And so Alan Greenspan said, let's remove all regulation, blow the biggest bubbles the world has ever seen. And that's where we are today. 2007 was the last attempt to destroy the system. And I believe over the next year or so, starting in August, so starting tomorrow, we're going to see some serious problems with our market. It could go, the New York Stock Exchange, the Dow could go to $100,000 easily. It's a click of a mouse. But it also could go to zero with the click of a mouse. So what do you want to do? You want to get your physical silver in your own possession, get your cryptos in your own possession, and get ready to ride out this insanity, because the cryptos will be there for decades. In Cliff's data, it has it going out over 100 years. So that's a long time. That is the wave of the future, just as the unbacked fiat monetary system invented in 1913 by the Federal Reserve has lasted for 100 years. The cryptocurrency, blockchain technologies will be at least 100 years. So you're in the very early days, my friends. All right, the Amazon effect. Retail bankruptcies surged 110% in the first half of the year. And they're saying, oh, the stock market's at all-time highs. This is the greatest thing ever. Everything's fine and dandy. Everybody's employed. It's like they don't look at any data at all. And the next hiccup in banking or in house values, good night. Good night, Democrats. Good night, Republicans. Good night, monetary system. Good night, everything. These are the biggest false bubbles ever blown, and they're gonna be pop, and blood will be all over the streets. Putin, it's time to retaliate. Remember, Putin and Trump are working together to take down the bad guys. The bad guys mainly embedded within the U.S., but also all over the world. And they'll pretend to be enemies, just to certain things that need to be done beforehand. I'm not worried about that. The euro crisis is not over. Former ECB chief economist urges Greek sabbatical from the EU. Nobody thinks any crisis is over. Everybody knows it's rotten and rotting behind the scenes, and yet the stock markets are controlled by the mouse in the basement of the U.S. Treasury, Steve Mnuchin. Click, click. Hey, Dow's up 200 points. Hey, look at that. Insanity, my friends. Meet AIDA, the perfect robot banker. End of branch banks coming soon. We don't need banks. How about end of banks coming soon? I don't need a bank. I got plenty of cryptos that I can use. You need a bank? I'm excited about Salt Lending, which is coming out, which is kind of the bridge between our current banking loan system and the cryptoverse. More about that soon. They've sold out their $1.50 ICO, pre-ICO, and now they have a pre-ICO of $3. Remember, they're shooting for a $10 retail price. So if you can get the ICO at $3, I'd say that's a good move. I don't know when it will become available, because when they hit the 150, they stopped. And I think it's this week or in the next couple weeks. But I do know they're going to start a marketing push. It's very low, under the radar ICO, and nobody really knows about Salt for various reasons. One, they want to do it right, get all the required sign-offs by the authorities, because what they do is they're using cryptocurrencies as collateral for fiat loans, and banks will bid on certain loans, and so hopefully when the bidding gets good and the banks recognize that the crypto collateral is an amazing collateral to have because it's so liquid. And one of the biggest problems in lending is securing the collateral. You have a house as collateral, but you got to do a repo and get dragged through the courts. This is no courts involved. If you go below your thresholds, they'll just grab your collateral and sell it, which is the way it should be, because nobody should be getting free lunches out there, my friends. All right, that's about it for today. Nothing real exciting that you don't already know about right now. from the cryptos and from the silver side. Silver will slowly be let up because they're trying to transition out of the old system and into the new. September and October, I see just huge volatility for the cryptos and huge volatility for our confidence in government. So yes, I expect 100% moves over a matter of weeks in the cryptos. Again, we've seen it many times. Remember, the crocodile teeth. As they go up, they're exciting. As they fall down, you have a heart attack. So get ready. And then it levels out. That's where we are right now. And we're about ready to start that next crocodile tooth, according to Cliff. Probably the end of the month, end of August, September, October. Huge months for the cryptos. So place your bets now, people. Place your bets. Anyway, this is Bix Weir, Road to Roota. Make sure you go to this site right here, roadtoroota.com, and sign up for free emails. There it is, right on the left here. If you subscribe for the free emails, you get a book too. How do you beat that? You can't beat that. And those of you looking to subscribe to the private section, I am still giving away $30 in Veritasium paper wallets right there. You can stick it in your vault. That is a Veritasium paper wallet. And of course, Veritasium is traded on the Ethereum platform. So, join, get involved, wake up, the world is changing. This is Bix Weir. We'll talk to you later.